my name is Kelly Bluen. I am a certified Zentangle teacher. Welcome to day 22 of Inktober. Today we're doing a tangle called Tilewave by Yuru Chen. I'll have her name and the tangle linked in the title of this video. I love this one. It starts out with kind of what I think of like a cursive L shape or a fancy L. And my name has two L's in it. My maiden name used to start with an L, so I loved playing with curvy L's. So this will be fun. So I'm starting with a Micron 01 pen, and I'm using a piece of copy paper where I just printed out a basic calendar, and then I drew an extra line in here so that I could put the title of each tangle on there. I'm going to do it on here first, and then I'll move to a larger piece of mixed media art paper where I'm doing a compilation of all 31 tangles. Kind of fun. Okay, so Tilewave has 6 steps. So I have to remind myself to do all 6 steps. So the first one is to make these curvy little lines. And I do it by making like a little dot. And I'm going to go and make just a little spiral, but I like to bump up first and then come down and around. So I bump up, down, and come back to the bottom. So I just do a little bump up, down, and around. And give it a little belly when you come down. And make another dot here. I go up first, so bump up, down, and around. Give it a little belly. Do one more. Up, down, around, and a little belly. Okay, typically you would do this with even more and make it more of a border. That is step 1. Step 2 is to repeat that same shape on the bottom as if you're making like the letter L. So I'm going to bump up to give myself that little bit of a curve. And then when I come down, I'm just going to curve in and do a little spiral. So I bump up a little bit, down, and give myself a spiral. Bump up, down, and a spiral. Fancy little L shapes. That is step 1 and step 2. The third step is we go from the top of the second spiral and we curve down to that bottom spiral. Start at the top and curve down. I don't have one over here, but I'm just going to imagine that it would curve down like that. So now we've done steps 1, 2, and 3. Number 4, and I probably could have done this as number 3 actually, but number 4, we're going to mimic that L shape by coming in on this curve here and going down and over, down. So we're basically aura-ing that L shape. And again, I could have done this as number 3, I guess. Down and over. So we're just basically giving that L shape a thicker look by aura-ing inside from one spiral to the other. Okay, now we've done 1, 2, 3, 4 steps. The 5th step is to come under this curve and up to the top of that spiral. So under this one and up to the top, under and up. That was number 5. And the last one is in this cute little stingray type shape. We're going to come down in a dot, down in a dot. Okay, that is our beautiful tile or tangle called Tilewave. Already ready to try it? Just remember those 6 steps. Okay, I'm going to move that aside. And this is my mixed media paper, so it's kind of a thick, like a watercolor type paper. Here's what I've got going on. And I'm going to switch to a Micron PN plastic nib pen right here. Just a little bit thicker pen. Works out well on this thicker paper. Okay, so for Tilewave, let's see where I want to put it. My thought is to go right against a border because it's kind of a border pattern, but I also think it might look pretty coming just across the middle somewhere. So I think I'm going to attempt to put it right here. I don't ever have a plan when I do this. I just sort of go for it. So zoom in a little bit. All right. So I'm going to start with my little dot. And I think I'm going to go ahead and space these out and sort of imagine. I'm going to do 4 of them. And I kind of curved them a little bit just to play around. Okay, so step 1 is that spiral and then come down. So I'm going to go, remember, like to pop up, down and around and curve. Up, down, around and curve. Up, down, around and curve. This one over here is hiding, so I'm not going to get much out of that. And then I still have space here, and I can kind of imagine the bottom of one of those coming out there. Okay, that is step 1. Step 2 is to go at the bottom down here and add that same shape. So I'm going to bump up a little bit, come in and do my spiral. Up, in and spiral. One, 2. For the third step, I'm going to aura inside. So I'm going to go from this curve down here and then over here. And I'm going to follow that little bit of a bump like that. Aura, aura. It's kind of hard when they disappear, but you get the idea. That was steps 1, 2, and 3. Number 4, I'm going to come down from the top of here and meet this spiral down here. So like that and that. And that was step number 4. Step number 5, I'm going to go from, I need to connect these top spirals. I'm going to come under here and up over there, under and over. And then the last step, number 6, is to come down in a dot. We did it. That is Tilewave. And then I like to add variations. So what I saw online that she did and other people have done is inside these cute little shapes here, we just do some auras. And look at how much that adds to that tangle. There's other things you could do inside of there. But I like how that looks. The other thing they've done is out here, just to kind of fill in, is to do some flux. And then maybe an orb just to finish it off. You could do a little flux and then a big flux just to change it up a little bit. Isn't that cute? If I have extra space, I just try to fill it in, darken it in a little bit. Maybe I'll just put an orb in there. I love that one. It's one of those you look at and go, I would never know how to make that. And then you put it in and go, oh, that's not so bad. So I wanted to try something. I wanted to use this as a single tangle. And I have spaces like this and this, where I'm going to have to fill that in with some tangle or another. So I wanted to try this as kind of a mono tangle. So what I'm envisioning is that L shape comes out here and then kind of goes into there. So I'm going to start with my dot. And I like to go up, down, around, like that. And then this one goes this way. It tucks in behind. And then maybe I won't aura the inside, but I will do this and this. Does that make sense, coming off those curves? And one of those. So just kind of as a mono tangle, and then I can still put in some flux. And I can fill in these spaces with dark ink. I can put an orb in if I've got room. And then maybe I'll aura that, which I guess is kind of gets me back to that aura'd inside look. But see how you can take a tangle and you can just sort of separate it and do it by itself, and it just fits in there. All right, enjoy Tilewave. Oh, I was gonna shade it real quick also. Where'd my pencil go? I've got a graphite pencil here. Okay, so to shade this one, my first instinct is to tuck it into these little parts that have that line. My other instinct is to put a little tiny bit out here. Give it a little shadow. And then on these curvy things, I like the idea of putting a little bit on each end. And we'll push them in and see if we can round them out a little bit. On flux, I just put a little bit in that bottom area. Okay, pick up my tortillon for blending. And I start with that little line inside, just pushing some of that out. And then I soften these areas. And then I soften these little curved areas. And see how having that darker edge just makes that middle pop up towards you? So look at those three versus the one I didn't do. I will do that one, but this one looks so much more flat and these look much more 3D. All right, there you go, Tilewave. We'll see you tomorrow. Thank you for joining me.